All I'll say is stay safe. But for this hour, our conversation is around politics with a touch of security. There possibly is a social angle to the conversation. But the most important part of it would be your contribution to it. And so we begin where we should, with the federal government, the presidency particularly, pushing back at former President Olusegun Obasanjo, saying he has no moral ground to criticize President Bola Tinubu over the rising insecurity in the country. Last Friday, Obasanjo told an audience in Jos the Nigerians are justified in seeking foreign assistance because the government is not doing enough to protect the citizens. But the presidency insists terrorism took root under Obasanjo's administration, arguing that today's security crisis is part of the legacy he left behind. It also rejected Obasanjo's call for foreign intervention, noting that asking other countries to handle Nigeria's security amounts to surrendering the nation's sovereignty. The government says while it welcomes global cooperation, it will not outsource Nigeria's security to outsiders. And that is the position of the presidency. But what exactly did Obasanjo say? You and I have to hear it so we get a better perspective. And here goes the former president.
No matter what religion you belong to, no matter where you come from, no matter what profession, we Nigerians are being killed. And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting us. We are part of the world community. If our government cannot do it, we have right to call on the international community to do for us what our government cannot do for us. And for anybody to say because those who are being killed belong to this region, belong to this religion, belong to this tribe, and then others too are being killed, cannot be an acceptable excuse. Before I left government, I know we had capacity to pick up anybody in Nigeria who commits crime anywhere. The capacity that we didn't have then is after we have identified and located such a criminal, we have no capacity to be able to pick him up without moving on land or by air. Now we have capacity. With drones, you can sniff them up. You can take them out. Why are we not doing that? Why are we apologizing? Why are we negotiating?
Yep. That's what former President Olusegun Obasanjo said. And that's what the presidency responded to. You see, the allegations of negotiating with bandits is one that the government at different levels have denied. El-Rufai said Kaduna government is paying $1 billion to bandits. The current governor denied. El-Rufai said that negotiating with bandits is a national policy in that same interview. The presidency denied. There is no government official that has admitted that they negotiate with bandits. But Nigerians do not believe, at least a lot of Nigerians do not believe the government, because some of the things they see is suggestive of the idea that it might be true. But when you hear things like this from a person like Obasanjo, why are we negotiating? It feeds into the chaos, the controversy, that regardless of the veracity of the statement, the fact that Obasanjo said it is the reason why one or two persons will say it now. So, the same way some people would just believe it because El-Rufai said it. They say, well, that was a former governor. This is a former president. So, indeed, the government must be negotiating with bandits. That's one perspective. The second is That the presidency says Obasanjo has no moral ground, no moral right to criticize President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the rising insecurity. And if you look up the meaning of a moral ground, it refers to a position or belief based on ethical principles. A high moral ground means a person is seen as acting with greater integrity and adherence to right and wrong compared to others. That there are standards, things that they uphold, the status of being respected for remaining upright and moral. And when you see people use this statement, it's usually around something they can take from anybody but that one person. A common example which you may have experienced or you've seen happen: somebody wants to get married, and as is the case in Nigeria, the omona or the family suddenly they buy the case, as we like to say in local parlance, right? Everybody is, this is our daughter, she's this one. Before you marry her, you will pay this. Uncles, extended family members, everybody is a stakeholder. And you will hear the daughter, who is the bride to be, complaining, no, anybody can say this, not Uncle Charlie. Who is he? What moral ground does he have to negotiate? Now, what she's trying to say is anybody in the family has the right to tell my in-laws to pay or to make it a bit difficult because they were there. They are actual stakeholders. They've sacrificed something. Uncle Charlie played no part in my upbringing. He did not support. He did not help. He was not there. In fact, he even made life more difficult. So when she says he has no moral ground to say what others are saying, she is simply saying that he cannot be held to high standards. Now, by extension, the federal government is saying that Obasanjo does not have the moral ground. He lacks the ethics, morals, and principles to accuse this government because, according to them, the insecurity that we see today started in his administration. They say it's the legacy that he left that grew to become what we now know. Now, that's another perspective. The third is, if Obasanjo does not have the moral ground, then who does? And I'm not being sarcastic with that question. I'm genuinely being curious, right? If Obasanjo cannot point fingers at this government, and any member of the opposition that does, you say, no, you is because you want to be president. So who has the moral ground to actually call out the government? Who qualifies as a person of high ethics, standards, and morals? Who is the person that can say, no, the Tinubu administration is not doing this or is doing that? And we'll say, yeah, well, okay, we may not agree with you, but sir, you have the moral ground. Is it Wale Soyinka? Is it Atiku Abubakar? Is it Peter Obi? Is it Showore? Like, who is the person now that if we mention this name, they say, this man na morality.com. Waiting in carry moral ground they do. He used it to farm, to build house and skyscraper. That moral ground is very fertile. Because if you think about it, we only have two former presidents from the Fourth Republic. This republic started in 1999 with Obasanjo, served 2 terms. The next president was Yar'Adua, and he's no longer with us. He actually died as president. He didn't finish his term. Goodluck took over. Finished Yar'Adua's term, served 1 term, and lost the 2nd term. Then it was Buhari, and now Buhari has also passed on. And after Buhari, we now have Tinubu. So the only former presidents we have from the Second Republic, Obasanjo and Goodluck. Yar'Adua dead, Buhari dead. So if Obasanjo does not have moral ground, I don't even think Goodluck is in the mood to come and be calling, because he just came back from Guinea-Bissau where they almost finished him. So this period, he's lying low. I'm sure if you offer him moral ground now, he will say, no, please. Let's not talk about anything ground. The ground is too hot. And finally, what's your take on Obasanjo's position and the federal government's response? Obasanjo says, if we can't do it, let's call other people to help us. And the people cheered at the event. President said, no, we cannot have that. These are questions that you need to ponder on while we take this break. When we return, we'll talk. Stay with us.
no matter what profession, we Nigerians are being killed. And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting us. We are part of the world community. If our government cannot do it, we have right to call on the international community to do for us what our government cannot do for us. And for anybody to say because those who are being killed belong to this region, belong to this religion, belong to this tribe, and then others too are being killed, cannot be an acceptable excuse. Before I left government, I know we had capacity to pick up anybody in Nigeria who commits crime anywhere. The capacity that we didn't have then is after we have identified and located such a criminal, we have no capacity to be able to pick him up without moving on land or by air. Now we have capacity. With drones, you can sniff them up. You can take them out. Why are we not doing that? Why are we apologizing? Why are we negotiating?
And now, hard facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, the words and voice of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo sharing his thoughts on the insecurity problem we have in the country. And I'm asking important questions. It's a three-part question. Does the perspective of the former president validate the suspicions, the allegations that government is negotiating with bandits? If the federal government says Obasanjo has no moral ground to call out this government, then who does? And finally, what's your take on Obasanjo's position and the federal government's response? The numbers to call 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06-416. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. You can watch, listen, and engage. As always, please turn off your radio so we have a smooth conversation. All right, take a few messages before we get to those calls as they keep coming in. Good afternoon, Sam. For me, I don't believe the Kebbi State governor. They must have paid ransom. Remember what Onanuga said? How did they get in contact with the bandits? Is it physical contact? Is it through phone? Or was it through virtual meeting? There's no way bandits will release those children without money changing hands. Let them continue with their lies. You didn't give your name, but you gave your thoughts. And the governor you speak of is a Kaduna State governor, not the Kebbi. From Plato, says the people I'm convinced that have the moral ground are those yet to decamp from the APC. You mean to the APC? Nigeria, what a funny country. So who hasn't decamped yet? Well, the governor of River State has not decamped. If we're going by your position, he's still a PDP member. Who else? Okay, we'll have to look through a list because they are difficult to find. So you're saying all the governors, all the top politicians who have not moved to the APC have moral ground. Okay, that's interesting. Sunday says, no matter what the presidency says about Obasanjo's statements on insecurity, Sam, the former president is on point, because how can the government be negotiating with bandits and terrorists when the government can willfully smoke and eliminate the terrorists and even neutralize all the bandits wherever they are gathering? But yet, our government chooses to negotiate with these terrorists. This means something is definitely wrong with our security agencies and by extension, the federal government. Pastor Sunday from Rumibo says, hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Please, I want to talk, comment on what the person just said.
So you give me your name first and where you're calling from.
My name is Eddie.
All right. Eddie, go ahead.
Please, what Obasanjo said is right. And you people in the media should help to disseminate the right information. There is nothing like absolute sovereignty in international policy. We are in a global community, and we are part and parcel of the world community. Like he said, So there's something like absolute sovereignty. Where they are killing people, you are not able to do anything, and you have the shame to even say that if they come in, it means they're fighting for your sovereignty. What sovereignty? Where you cannot defend your own place? Where terrorists are all over your place, you cannot take them out. And they're talking about sovereignty. You have the shame. You don't have sovereignty. Where you can defend your territory. If you are not to defend the integrity of Nigeria, are you doing it? It is a shame that this type of thing is happening. Obasanjo is very, very right. And the one they went to the United States and say United States policy, they didn't see the president or even a minister. They keep lying to Nigerians. They went and made a senator and they are back saying that the American government said that. They don't know and they will never know the intention of the American government. It is a shame that this type of thing is happening. People
All right.
keep lying to the president.
Okay. Thank you very much. Gospel calls from Rumudara. Good evening, Gospel.
Good evening, my brother Sam.
Good evening.
Gospel.
All right, go ahead.
Sam, if there's any important part in a structure, it is the foundation. If you don't get the foundation right, you rest assured that there will be a structural defect somehow. Obasanjo was the president of this country in 1999. In fact, when we embrace this current dispensation of democracy, he was the first civilian president. So, Obasanjo had a good opportunity to lay a good foundation for this country. If the foundation of this country was properly laid, every other president that has come after Obasanjo would have been standing on that foundation to do well. You know, it becomes so worrisome when you hear some people that have opportunity to make things better to come and start doing things as if they never had opportunity or in their time they were sent. Sam, you and me know that at the time Obasanjo was the president, the cost of construction, living was very, very, low compared to what it is now. If Obasanjo have laid a better foundation for security, I don't think we would have been having security issues in this country. I'm talking about negotiation. If at all, as we are saying that the federal government negotiated with the bandit and released the abductors in Kebbi State, it is not peculiar to Nigeria. We've had stories where American government also negotiate. We have stories where UK government also negotiate. These are developed countries. Sometimes the government prioritizes saving lives, that we also need them to meet with this bandit in the talking time.
All right, Gospel, thank you very much. Hoping you get to your point sooner. We need to manage time properly. But thanks for calling. Chima calls from Ajib. Please turn off your radio.
Yes, Mr. Sam.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Sam.
Good evening.
Mr. Sam, on the question you asked, I will tell you you need not to ask anymore because it's glaring to everyone, the negotiation that is going on between the federal government and this killer bandit. You understand? I mean, it's glaring. But it's unfortunate. Obasanjo has said it all, and he has a moral justification. Like he said, if Obasanjo does not have moral justification, who has? You understand? He has a moral right, and he has done well in his administration. Though I can't take out the ills of his administration, but I can point one or two prosecutions he has made when it has to do with issue of corruption and the rest of them. You understand? So he has a moral justification. So what we in Nigeria should be asking the federal government, why are they negotiating with these bandits? Why are they giving them amnesty? Because the bandits themselves, they have come out to say, like, when the federal government claims to have released You see the girls and the rest of them. Bandits came out clear to tell the whole world what went through. So why are they negotiating when you can take out these people? Why are you giving them amnesty? You understand? These are the questions that everybody is asking. People like me were asking.
Okay.
Why is federal government negotiating with bandits instead of taking them out?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fred calls from Coral. Hello, Fred. Good evening.
My brother, good evening. God bless you this evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I want to talk about the statement of Obasanjo. My brother, I agree with that man. But that man is speaking as an elderly man. He cannot negotiate with terrorists. It's very wrong. In a government like this, these are the people killing people, taking people's lives, kidnapping people, collecting money from people, which is very, very bad. To free these people, but I remember there was a time, Operation Python dance in Abia State. We have so many fighter jets flying around that area in Abia State. Where are those fighter jets that they cannot be able to use and flood these criminals out? I know that this is Obasanjo. He will do that. He will not take permission from anybody. Because what I'm seeing that there are some people, calibers of people in this government that are in support of these boys. That's why they are telling the president not to negotiate with these people. They are close to the president. They are hearing from the bandits and they'll come to the president, let us negotiate. Why not tell the president to flush these people out? It's very simple, it's very easy way. Go to their camp and flush them out. It's not take Nigeria to anywhere. Nigerian army has been known as peacekeeping, the best peacekeeping in the world. But why are Nigerian army are not trying to flush these people out? Not happy for what's going on in this country. Thank you very much and God bless you, my brother.
Thank you very much. Mufasa calls from Port Harcourt. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sam.
Good evening.
And happy new month to you.
Happy New Month to you too.
Yeah, well, if Obasanjo does not have the moral gravitas to speak on an issue that concerns this country, I wonder who else has such, privilege to do so. The United States Congress, these are foreigners, complete foreigners, dedicated almost 2 hours plus to discuss Nigeria's security problem. So they have more moral standing to discuss our matter. How much more somebody who has served as president before? You see, my problem with this Tinubu administration is that anybody that does not speak in support of, their ineptitudes, that person does not have the moral standing to speak. Nigerians are being killed. Children are being whisked away from their schools. And you are saying that people shouldn't talk? That the government told us with confidence that they called the bandits, the terrorists, that they spoke to them and appealed to them to release hostages, which means they have their contacts, they have their connects, and you're not doing anything about it. And the man simply said, if you cannot solve this problem, there is nothing wrong in seeking help from overseas. So if you think you are too big to request for assistance from overseas, then do something already. As we speak, we have more than 300 people in captivity that were kidnapped in Niger State. Over 300 of them, including women and children. 4-year-old children are in captivity. And they have, the temerity to come out and begin to tell Nigerians not to speak. Who is the president that we have? Is Obasanjo the president? The president we have today that has assured us to protect our lives and property is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And all the governors, they are the ones that we will talk to, not Obasanjo. Thank you, Sam. Have a fantastic evening.
All right. Thank you very much, Mufasa. I'll get back to the phone line shortly. The messages waiting to be taken. Remember, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. Samuel Ami on Facebook says, must every situation in Nigeria be life? Says, to be honest, the message from OBJ is crystal clear, and I believe him. It can never make sense to me to say that the government is not either protecting or negotiating with the bandits. In fact, it seems like the bandits are now in charge of the country. Fabian Ekanem says, if Nigeria has the right to send Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment, what would they do to bandits, Boko Haram terrorists, unknown gunmen, and killer herders? Mark Ritchie says, the only thing this government is good at is attacking anyone that criticizes them. That's why they appoint you kidding me right now? Okay, I'll take one or two comments and then go back to the phone lines. Inime from Igruta says, ex-President Obasanjo has moral ground to call President Tinubu's government to order, having been involved in Nigeria's civil war, fighting for Nigeria, being an ex-president, silence, militancy, OD Bielsa, etc. in many parts of the country while he was serving as civilian president. The handlers of Tinubu presidency do not know how well they have failed Nigerians in their primary responsibility of saving life and property of Nigerians. 2027 election is coming. And the next comment reads, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Baba Ahmed Dati, and Patu Tomi, they all have the moral ground to criticize. It's only the APC government that shies away from criticism. They actually want everyone to clap and congratulate everything they do. And that's why the National Assembly has become their ceremonial puppet to champion their puppetry ineptitude. I don't blame the president. I blame competent and highly moral Nigerians who are hiding from politics. Umoren from Rukboko says. Back to the phone lines. Gift calls from Yenugwa. Hello, Gift. Good evening.
Good evening, Sam Chinedu. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
We give glory to God. I'm fine.
Go ahead.
Chinedu Oracle, as a Bayelsa man and who experienced firsthand what Obasanjo did to the people of Udi, I can agree 130% with the federal government. He has no moral grounds. If the federal government decides to do its part, I am telling you, Nigeria will be another Somalia. That's the truth. Are you telling me after nothing, military should go in and finish everybody there before Obasanjo will know? The same Obasanjo, Sam Chinedu told Nigerians that use the stick and this other approach, either to destroy them or carrot and stick approach. You understand the meaning of anything, carrot and stick approach. There are some situations that you need to use brutal force, and there are situations that you need to use diplomacy. This was what we said earlier. Today now the same man is telling you that either America or any other person should come in. Will this particular man who is suggesting this to either or to the government of the day agree to that? Under his watch, that was when Boko Haram started. You never did anything to stop it from the beginning. He was the first to experience this thing. What was the outcome? From him to Yar'Adua to Goodluck to Buhari, they are all, if you want to point at the finger, the meaning of Obasanjo is the creation of this Boko Haram. Because you repeat doing nothing. You stop this thing. If you stop this thing from the beginning, I don't think it will fester to this point. So this man should just allow Nigeria to rest, or he will not the people in any other place in Nigeria. Because the people are not happy with him. The entire Bayelsa is not happy with what he did. Satibian, go and ask them. What are you suggesting? That a foreign nation should come and take over? The federal government said they will collaborate. They will be the head and not to be under America. We are a sovereign nation, no matter how you feel. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Gift. And Jude calls from Omuma. Good evening, Jude.
Yes, Sam.
Good evening.
Obasanjo says if we cannot help ourselves, he's suggesting that the foreign people can come and help us if we cannot help ourselves. In the case of supporting paying ransom for kidnappers, the question now is the man superheading the payment or supervising or negotiating with the kidnappers. I hear of said what's that his name? Sekegumi, that have been negotiating with the kidnappers over the years now. Will the federal government employ him to negotiate with kidnappers? Or he's just doing that voluntarily, or he's doing that at the service of federal government? last week I watched him on television saying that the kidnappers are better evil, are lesser evil or less evil, less evil than the killers. Kidnappers are less evil than the killers. Just to justify his reason for negotiating for the kidnappers. The federal government has done nothing. Yeah, Obasanjo said during his time they could go all out, arrest people who have contravened the law, but what they did not have is the technology, the drone, and other things that we have now. So, what he has said for me is completely right. We should not negotiate with kidnappers. Whether they are less evil than the killers, we should not negotiate with them. That's what the federal government is doing. Everybody is accusing them. They should show us they are not encouraging kidnappers being paid for what they are doing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jude. We have about 3 minutes left on the clock. Let's do justice to messages. Sam, greetings. We don't need to politicize what Obasanjo said. What is in your hand? You don't need a mirror to look at. Why are they negotiating with bandits and Boko boys? We're no longer safe in our country. Which way, Nigeria? Thank God, Ability Atuebo asks. Good day, Sam. How about your question? Who then can criticize government? It's logical that anyone who doesn't encourage you when you're doing your best is not welcome to criticize your errors. Anyone who does not show love to my child should not flog my child for playing too much. The reason Obasanjo may not have the ground to criticize is one, his government laid the wrong foundation, and even the security challenges started then. Two, he has a loud mouth, and I'm afraid too loud for constructive criticism. Remember when the previous Abacha-led military government was also way better than his? Because things were way cheaper. He didn't return any prize the way he met it. Security-wise, you can't compare his with Abacha. I also share the sentiment of the government about him, Akbar says on WhatsApp. The next comment reads, what our leaders need is the music of African China, letter to Mr. President. Oyenuche, yes, Stephen. Felix in Sekan says, yes, Obasanjo has a moral right to make the statement he made because the security situation was better during his time as president. Besides pride and addiction to political power, there's no plausible reason why the federal government should kick against Obasanjo's statement when they go around begging other countries for loans, which they share amongst them in the name of projects. They did talk about sovereignty because that one benefits them. They are defending the evil because their family members are not victims. Judging from the chairs in the audience, you can see Obasanjo spoke the mind of the masses. In Nigeria, they swallow their pride and allow the US intervene. The fight is obviously beyond the federal government. Owanete says, FG says Obasanjo does not have moral ground to speak about killings and bandits. I disagree with the federal government. Obasanjo has every right to talk on any ugly situation in the country. This is a tragedy that should shake every Nigerian to the core. We must ask ourselves what kind of situations we are in when terrorists can take a whole general the same way they take ordinary civilians. This is heartbreaking. It's a moment for sober reflection, a moment to admit that things are not okay in the country. Well, that's as far as I can go with the messages. It's a sad and sorry situation, the insecurity in the country, but the solutions must be swift, whether it's collaborative, whether we can do it on our own. It's important that this problem is solved, because if it's not, the controversies will continue, the arguments, you can do it on your own, you need to collaborate. We'll keep having these kinds of unnecessary political conversations while people are held in captivity and many others have died in the hands of people who have no business taking life in a country that should be secure. Again, we hope, because that's all we have, that it gets better.